What's up, guys? Welcome to our podcast.
She finally realized that it was all mental. Hey y'all, welcome back to Yips and Giggles. We have a very special guest with us today. She is about to start her first season on the LPGA Tour, and in 2025, she was named Women's Professional of the Year by the Irish Golf Writers Association. Welcome, Miss Lauren Walsh. Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate you.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
We're both a bit under the weather, so that's why our voices are a bit off. So if you're
so I'm gonna be like muting myself from time to time because I'm like just sniffling and I don't want it to be like
that's okay
into the mic. So
it's like, oh, this is gonna sound really good.
Sound like we smoke a pack of cigarettes a day.
Literally. So yeah, you're kind of just like gearing up for the season right now. Like what's coming up in the next few weeks?
So I had my first event of the year last week in Saudi, which was an LET event. And then I go to China this Saturday for my first LPGA event. And then There's like 1 week off, so I'll come home for 3 or 4 days and then pretty much then out to the States. So I'll be in the States then for about 2 months after that, kind of, competing in a rake events over there.
Gotcha.
And so we had Alex on a few weeks ago, and he was kind of explaining the difference between, the different tours and the PGA. So is the LET kind of similar to what he's on, like the DP World Tour, and then the ultimate goal is to get to the LPGA?
Yes, exactly. So like the LET is like exactly what Alex is doing on the DP. Mm-hmm. Obviously they play for a lot more money than what we do.
We'll get into that, don't worry.
We'll get into that too.
But yeah, it's called the European Tour, but it's really worldwide. It's, we did Australia, South Africa, Asia, Korea, all of that. So that's kind of what I've been doing the last 2 years. And then obviously ultimately the big goal was to get on the LPGA. So very excited.
So is that going to be a little less travel or just as much travel as the LET?
I guess for me, it's just as much travel because like now I'll just be traveling to the States.
Right.
I'm not going to move to the States again.
Okay.
Like my coach and like my support system are all still here. So if I have an off week or something, from Wake, I have so many friends and stuff over there that like I can go stay with Rachel for a week or go, to all these places like or even go back to Wake and like, oh my God, Kim and Ryan have me back in a second. So
yeah, that's awesome.
If I have an odd week here or there, then like I'll stay over there. But if I have 2 weeks off, I'll probably just come back to Ireland for a little bit of time. So
gotcha. That's awesome. And so how did you actually kind of get into golf? Like how old were you when you started? And, I kind of want to hear about your background on that because I don't actually know myself.
So for me, I was always really into sports. As a young kid, I was really into our national sports here in Ireland, which is Gaelic football and hurling and camogie. So played a lot of them growing up, was quite athletic, and then kind of fell into golf. I have an older sister who kind of started playing with a couple of her friends. Mm-hmm. I tagged along with the little sister and then got pretty good pretty quickly. And it all kind of went from there. Started playing in a couple more tournaments, got picked up on some kind of development teams over here, started playing for Ireland, and went away to the European Championships, which eventually is where I got recruited for college in the States. So
gotcha.
Was always into sports, always thought sports was, a really cool thing to be a part of, and fell into golf in the end.
It worked out.
Awesome. And how did you end up choosing Wake? Like, I'm sure you're recruited by a lot of different schools, but what made you choose Wake?
I think for me, a big thing was the academic side of it as well. I wanted like a good academic school. Also wanted somewhere where obviously golf was quite competitive. Mm-hmm. Wake was the perfect fit. It was a small size. Obviously coming over from Ireland, it was a big move to the States. I think the size of Wake, it was probably a smaller university in like from a student population point of view. So the other practical side of things, like our facility was on campus, so like I didn't need to get a car straight away. Little things like that kind of fed into the decision. But it was probably the best decision I ever made. I had an incredible 4 years, incredible teammates, coaches, experiences. So I was very, very glad I ended up at Wake.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were unbelievable pretty much all 4 years that you were there. You guys won You guys won the NCAA team championship in 2023?
My senior year, yeah, my last ever college run was winning the NCAA championships, which is honestly the stuff of dreams. You know, it's
Awesome.
you know, athletes sacrifice so much to get into sports, so to be able to have that kind of dream finish was very, very special and a very, very fond memory.
You were the best performer on the team in that competition within the NCAA, team competition. You were undefeated in match play, T7 in stroke play, which was only about like 4 strokes behind the winner. So just like when you're looking back at that tournament, that time, what was going through your mind during those matches? How are you able to perform at such a high level and kind of step up for your team?
Yeah, it was it was a really special week. It was one of those weeks that, athletes describe like, when everything kind of just falls into place. And as a team, we were all feeling really, really good. We just about scraped through regionals. Like, we were obviously one of the favorites going in, and then almost didn't qualify for nationals because regionals kind of, we didn't really perform very well. But so I think the relief of coming from that then into nationals, we were all like so relaxed, going in with like such a great mindset. I think our coaches did an incredible job. We had a team meeting a couple of weeks before that, and we spoke a lot about like this whole idea of like neutral thinking and just nothing's inherently like too positive or too negative. We were all neutral for the week, which kind of allowed us whatever kind of came during that week, we were kind of able to deal with. We were playing out in Phoenix in, the end of May, so it was really, really warm. One of my teammates got heat stroke. She was in the hospital, and then and we were all battling all these things all week, but so it was really cool to be able to kind of pull together the team. And then obviously from an individual perspective, I had a pretty good week that week. I played really well, and then it came into the match play, and I think as individuals on the team, we're all so competitive and very, maybe feisty is the right word. We're all kind of have that edge to us. So I think match play was made for us.
Right.
And we all went out there and knew what we had to do. And it was very special. Obviously, the whole kind of thing came down to my match at the end, and to be able to kind of get the winning point was, oh my gosh, the stuff of dreams. And then to have all the girls run out, and just all the kind of 4 years previous of, we were probably favorites going in one year, then COVID happened, and like so many kind of obstacles along the way. So cool memories.
Yeah, that would be such a cool feeling. Talking kind of about the kind of individualistic side of golf, like how is it different going into like the college dynamic where you're actually on a team? Like how is that adjustment?
Yeah, obviously golf, it's, I guess similar to tennis in that way. It is an individual thing. You're going out on your own. Like you can only control what you're doing. And then, you can only hope that contributes to a good kind of team score. So I guess the team aspect, I had some experience as I kind of mentioned just before. I played on Irish teams and stuff like that in similar formats to what college golf was. So that was kind of a cool experience. And then the other thing was I grew up playing a lot of team sports, in Gaelic football and camogie. So I had that kind of team experience and always loved that feeling of, you're playing for a bit more than just yourself, So yeah, going to college was a really cool experience, even just like when you finish a hole, turning around and kind of waving back to your teammates was always a big thing in college golf. So just to know you've people out there supporting you and you're all kind of working towards the same goal was always pretty nice. So overall a very positive experience, and I would highly recommend to anybody who gets the opportunity to take that team aspect up, because it's, you don't always get that in sports.
Right.
Yeah. And for those of our listeners who don't know, you mentioned, once we got into match play, that's kind of where we started thriving and excelling. So can you quickly just give a rundown of the format of college golf, how it works?
Yeah. So I guess our regular season are normally stroke play events. So we play 3 rounds of stroke play, which is just like your regular stuff you would see golf on the weekend at. And how college golf works is you 5 players on the team. So the 5 players play individual rounds, and the best 4 scores from the 5 count towards the team score. So there's always an individual competition going on and a team event as well. So, you're always fighting for your individual spot, but then also you were contributing to the team event. So at Wake we had a very competitive team. It was always very competitive to kind of get into that 5 to travel. I think at one point we had 4 or 5 inside the top 50 in the world, which was an incredible stat for a team. So Yeah, it was always really competitive amongst us, but also, we had a lot of success as a team as well, which was cool. So that was our regular season. And then going into the NCAA championships, you have 4 rounds of that stroke play, and then the top 8 teams qualify for match play, which is like Ryder Cup style, kind of 1v1. So yeah, that's kind of how we went about it. And then there was, I guess, you have your 5 matches against the other team's 5, and it's kind of interesting. When it comes around to the match play, the coaches kind of pair them up, like they throw out a name and then somebody kind of matches it, and then the team throw one out, and then like our coaches like pair us up against each other. So
that's funny.
It's a cool experience. It's kind of unique. It's normally it's a kind of a blind draw. You put out your lineup, and but there was a little bit of like strategy in that as well, which is cool. Yeah.
Did you enjoy that kind of match play, the 1v1?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. A lot of the team stuff when I played for Ireland was always match play as well, like against other European countries and stuff like that. And it's kind of fun because obviously in golf, like every stroke matters, but in match play there's a sense of, okay, if you've one bad hole, it's fine. You're only going 1 down, or you only lose 1 hole, and then you can go on a run and kind of get up in the match again. So it's a unique format, but it's fun, it's exciting, and I think from a team perspective, it's cool to follow along as well.
And so obviously you graduated in May of 2023 and turned pro immediately after, and you started competing immediately after and had a really, really good, transition into professional golf. You had a couple of second place finishes and top 10 finishes as well. And then you attended Q school in December, and you earned the status that you needed to earn in order to compete fully on the LET tour within 2024. So how was that transition from college to professional like? What were any adjustments that you made, and what do you think helped you the most in your transition to be so successful right out of the gate?
Yeah, I think the transition was hard because you go from playing in college where everything's organized for you, everything's booked, everything's managed. You have your teammates there, you have your coaches there like all the time, incredible practice facilities. And then you move home, and then it's all on me. It's like, okay, I'm booking my travel. I'm booking, like, I'm my own personal, like, travel assistant, like, all of this stuff. So it was a bit of an adjustment in the beginning. But, I was always quite an organized kind of type A personality. So I kind of thrived in that position of okay, I got kind of full ownership of like where I'm traveling, when I'm going, all of this stuff, which was cool. So I think that being organized really helped in that transition, because I think that's one of the most difficult things for people coming out of the college system going and turning professional. So I think that was a big help for me. I think the other thing is a lot of, we competed at the highest level in collegiate golf. So a lot of those girls who you're competing against are the same ones who are turning pro a couple months later, or maybe I would have seen them as a freshman or a sophomore when they were kind of upperclassmen. So there was a lot of kind of familiar faces when I turned pro, which was probably made the environment a bit more comfortable than I guess I was maybe initially expecting. So I think it was nice to get my card on the LET, kind of play a little bit closer to home. I could kind of travel for a couple of events, come home and spend some time in Ireland. Obviously after being away for 4 years, it was nice to get a little bit more time at home with my family. So that was kind of the experience from turning pro. And
do you feel like it's easy to kind of make friends on tour, or is it pretty difficult with all the travel that you guys do, or do you kind of see the same people pretty often?
Yeah, we see a lot of the same people, and I think the LET is a really friendly tour.
That's good.
We don't make quite as much money as like the guys and like the American tour as well. So we travel together, like we're sharing Airbnbs or hotels or rental cars or whatever it is. So you get your group of girls that you kind of travel with, and obviously one of the biggest perks, we get to travel to some of the coolest places in the world. So I've made some incredible friends the last couple of years, and some from Ireland, some from some other countries as well. And we've got to travel to all these really cool places. And it just makes the experience a lot more fun, because golf at the end of the day, you're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, but then you come in and you kind of have this group of girls that you kind of go for dinner with or whatever, and it makes the whole journey a lot easier.
Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome. So when you're not competing in the tournament, what does a typical day of training look like for you? And even maybe walk us through what a typical week leading up to competition might look like for you.
Yeah, so I guess a general week we compete. Well, I guess on the LET we played a lot of 3-day events, so we played maybe a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So you normally have 3 practice days before that. So I might play like 9 holes the first day, a little bit of practice, and then maybe the next day another 9 holes in the gym and a little bit of practice, something like that. And then sometimes we have a pro-am, which is I might go play with some of the sponsors of the tournament, and that's normally the day before the first round. So that's sometimes 9, 18 holes, depending on the event, which is obviously a really important event or an important aspect for the sponsors. And then, then we tee it up. You play the first 2 days, and then after 2 days, there's a cut normally for the final round or for the final 2 rounds if it is a 4-day event. So obviously the goal is to make the cut, because if you don't make the cut, you don't get paid.
Right.
So it's pretty brutal like that. But obviously the goal is always to make the cut, play as well as you can, and and then repeat in the next venue the week after. So that's kind of the setup for the week.
I mean, I'm sure the schedule can be pretty brutal when you're playing pretty much every week. So, a lot of times we talk about on the podcast is burnout. And so how do you kind of keep that from happening, or how do you kind of find a balance in your daily life to kind of stay away from that?
Yeah, I think that was a big learning for me in my that kind of 2024, that first full season on the LET. I think I played 7 weeks in a row, which was absolutely crazy. And I was completely burnt out. My sister was with me at the last event, and she was looking at me being like, "What's wrong with you, Laura? Like, you're not okay." I was like, "No, I'm actually not okay. Like, I need to go home." So I was supposed to play the week after to do 8, which was just like, no, I pulled out. I couldn't. I was like starting to get injured, and I just mentally needed a break.
Right.
And I think that was the first time I was like, I am burnt out, and it's not a nice feeling, and it just impacts every aspect of your life. So I feel like since then I've tried to do better at like managing my schedule. So managing, okay, maybe you're only doing 3 in a row, or you're only doing 4 in a row, and then I know I have a week off, or trying to balance that side of it. And then I think the other really big part of the burnout is finding hobbies away from golf, finding things to do off the golf course. So Netflix series are great. I end up, I got a Kindle, so like reading books or whatever it is, just to kind of not think about golf when golf is done. And I think that's another part of the transition from college golf. And when you're playing college golf, you have your school to keep you busy, you have like you're living with your best friends, so you're like, you have the kind of social life of college as well to kind of keep you going, and then you come away from that, and then your hobby or your sport becomes your job, and it's a very different dynamic. So I think learning to balance all of that definitely made me a better player kind of coming into my second year, which was last year. Learning to take time off away from the sport actually made me better, which was a definite kind of change in mindset from, I guess, previous years.
But yeah, you see a lot of athletes doing it now, and they come back way better than they were before. So they know what they're doing, I think. But that's interesting.
Yeah. And for me, it's like, it's time off, but okay, maybe, take an extra week off. And then in that week off, like I used to be like practicing every day and doing all of this. And while I still get my practice done, I make sure I schedule in like fun things to do as well that aren't golf or aren't the gym or aren't anything related to golf. So that's important as well.
What are you watching right now? Do you have any show suggestions?
I know, I actually just got one today. I think it's recently gone on Netflix. It's something about heaven in Belfast and something.
I've started watching that.
Oh, did you? Okay,
it's
that's
good.
My next one. I have a long haul flight on Saturday, so that's what I'll be downloading for that.
Yeah, it's
What's
good.
that about? I haven't heard of it.
It's almost like a mystery, like comedy mystery drama. Like it's kind of like all of these different kind of genres all together. And it's like, I guess it's based in Belfast, and it's actually from I think it's from the producer of Dairy Girls, which is like literally one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yes, Dairy Girls.
So there's a bunch of characters from Dairy Girls in it. So I was like, I'm watching this for sure. So it's funny you said that. That's actually a good recommendation.
Any recommendations? I'm always up for recommendations, because I'm like reading the Harry Potters right now on my Kindle. That's like,
fun.
I've never was always super into Harry Potter, but never read the books, which I think is like prime now. So my little brother started reading the books. I was like, okay, I can't have him read them and me not have read them.
Yeah,
So that's what's going on now.
that'll last a while, so you're good.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, let's get into obviously the big the big thing that happened in your life a couple months ago. So you obviously earned your place on the LPGA tour by going through LPGA Q school. I think you finished 10th on the European tour by the rankings, right? Which got you a spot into the Q Series final. But you need a top 20 finish in order to secure the card, the LPGA card, right? So from research, you were 34th going into that final round. So obviously outside of that top 20 spot, and you played just an unbelievable round of golf. So how did you stay focused on your game instead of, thinking about that end goal, that top 20 finish?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I learned a lot from my experience on the LET. I've had a lot of top 5 finishes, got really close to getting into contention, and then like maybe didn't quite close out the win or quite like performed how I wanted to kind of coming down the stretch. So I think I learned a lot from those experiences. I think ultimately at Q school this year, I had like full belief in myself that like, okay, it's going to happen. And I spoke a lot with my swing coach actually of just allowing it to happen. I think sometimes it's so easy to get into the mindset of trying to force something. Right. The kind of perfectionist tendency comes in of, you have to do a perfect shot here or a perfect shot here. And when ultimately, like, I know now that that's not when I play my best golf. I play it when it's just completely, I'm allowing kind of all the hard work and everything that I've put into it just to happen naturally out on the course. And I think for one of the first times, that final round especially, I just allowed all that to happen. I kind of was like, yeah, like I've got this and it's going to happen. I just need to allow it to happen. And kind of that almost, I wasn't in control then. I kind of like put it out to the universe and was just like, okay. Yeah. So that was like a really big thing for me. And I think I'd learned from other times when, coming down the stretch, you try and force it here and there, and it just never works out like that. So, just had full belief in myself and kind of, my coach actually called me the night before the final round, and he was like, look, I just want to say, like, keep doing what you're doing is great, and you've got this, and just keep telling yourself that. And all day it was just back and forth. My caddy was like, okay, I've got this. So that kind of reinforcement, it's, people talk about it, but it definitely works, and it's it worked for me anyways.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really about trusting yourself in those moments, I feel like. So that's great to hear. And we've also seen there's a couple other girls from Wake who actually got their card as well. So, I mean, what's in the water over there? Like, what do you think? Like, have you guys kind of learned like something huge from there?
Yeah, I think like obviously we were very competitive at Wake. I think Kim and Ryan, our coaches at Wake, do an incredible job. Like, I'm very biased. I think we have the best coaches in the country there. They kind of really wanted us to be better as people and players, which I think is so important.
That's great.
And I think they were just really great at, developing our skills, but also like our mindset in, that kind of 1% mindset they spoke we spoke quite often about as a team. And then also kind of coming into that like neutral thinking towards the end of my time there, how much that benefits is incredible. And I think they did well in like also communicating with my personal coach back at home.
That's
and
great, yeah.
Just they created such a great environment for us to kind of develop as players. And I think we're all reaping the rewards from it now. It's been a successful time for Wake golf.
So when you're in a culture that's just kind of it's a good culture to be around, and you're surrounding yourself with people that are supporting each other, even in an individual kind of a sport, I think that really honestly creates something so special, because it's hard to do. I mean, when you're bringing all these golfers together into one team, you never know what's going to happen. So I think that's interesting.
And you're bringing golfers in from all over, like we were a very international team. So you've girls coming in from completely different cultures, different places, backgrounds, different coaching backgrounds. And they did a good job at kind of bringing us together for those events.
And I think it just shows how big and how important mindset actually is in whatever sport you play. Like
Yes.
that's kind of the whole point of our podcast. We really just want to dive more into mindset and like the mental part of the game, because it's getting a lot more traction now in recent years. But like before, I feel like it was all just like either you're talented and you work hard and you just work 110%, or you're not. And it's like, no, a big part of it is mental performance. And we really need to work hard at that too. And it sounds like your coaches really gave you a good framework for how to handle pressure situations, how to go about different, I don't know, like different preparations and different strategies. So it's great to see everyone doing so well.
Yeah.
What do you think will be the biggest adjustment for the LPGA for you this season?
I think obviously I kind of mentioned like that, I have a nice kind of group of friends and stuff out on the LET, like it's very friendly. So I'm kind of interested to see, like, once I get out there, like I know a couple of the girls out there and there's one or two that have kind of got their cards at the same time. So I think just traveling with like new people, new places, just getting used to that system over there, and kind of, I guess a big goal for me going forward is like getting comfortable in that environment. Because, I know my golf, my golf is the same, my golf level is good enough to be out there. So for me, it's all about getting comfortable out there. Yeah, just feeling good, showing up to the first tee, ready to compete. And because as I said, I kind of like that kind of inner belief is a big thing for me now. So I just want to try and feel comfortable kind of as quickly as I can out there.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of going off of that, what would you say kind of guides you in your golf, or even just kind of in your life? Like, what sort of values do you think kind of make you into the person that you are today, and kind of like what drives you in golf and your life?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's a couple things. I think I've always been a super competitive, fiery kind of little girl. I always wanted to be in sport. I always wanted to, I joke, I have an older sister, and it was like anything Clodagh did, I wanted to do better. So it's like, if she did this, I did it too, and wanted to do a little bit better. So we still joke about it at home here. So I was always really competitive. So I think golf brought a really cool challenge of it's different every day.
Right.
It's something that like I couldn't perfect. And you have a different challenge, a different shot. You pretty much never get the same shot twice. So for me, that was a really cool way to kind of constantly have something to work on and improve on. So I think that's why I ended up in golf, and why I really took to golf so quickly. It was a new challenge every day, which I found really exciting.
Right.
So I'd say that for me was a big thing. And I think the other thing is, like, I think a lot of people who know me well know my family are super important to me, are, such an integral part of my team. So yeah, I love being able to kind of, when they get to come out and support me, or even if they're just supporting from home. It's been a big journey for my entire family. As you guys know, sport's a big sacrifice for the entire family. The driving, the early mornings, events, tournaments, and all of it. So my family are a big part of kind of who I am today, and kind of why I do what I do. So it's nice to have their support along this way.
So you mentioned to me, I think a week or two ago when we were chatting, that you work with a sports psychologist now. So when and why did you start working with a sports psychologist?
Yeah, it was towards probably about a year and a half now. So it's kind of the end of 2024. And I'd kind of been thinking about it for a while. I kind of felt kind of in that space of when I turned pro, my hobby becoming my job was a little bit overwhelming. And, there's a lot going on when you're trying to manage playing golf, practicing, sponsorships, and kind of travel and organizing all of this. So like there was a lot on my plate, and I kind of felt like I needed a little bit of support in that sense. So cool opportunity came up, and a big supporter of Irish golf introduced me to this psychologist and helped me out with the whole thing. So I've been working with her for about a year and a half now, and it's been going really well. And I think what's so important to acknowledge, I think, in sports psychology, it's not always just like the golf course stuff. Like I can do my visual, do all of this on the golf course, and for me that's one of my strengths. But the big part of it for me was making sure everything else in my life was like aligned and organized in a way to allow me to perform my best on the course. That's
awesome. That's huge. I mean, I'm also always interested in the psychology of golf, because I think it is such a mental sport. Like I can't imagine playing it. I mean, I play tennis and I get extremely frustrated, so I can't imagine playing golf. But like when I think about it, you guys have so much time kind of in between shots and everything. And so how do you kind of like what do you do in between shots to prepare for your next shot? Like, what are you thinking about? Like, what are you physically, mentally doing in between those shots?
And this is something I've kind of changed, like I would say in the last kind of 6 to 12 months, because part of the burnout for me was I was so locked in on golf all of the time.
Right.
And I realized, I can't keep doing this because I will, like, my brain's just going to like burst.
Right.
So for me now, I try to switch off a little bit more between shots. So if I'm walking from the tee where I've just hit my drive to the fairway, sometimes I'm like chatting to my caddy, we're talking about food or, what we're going to do that afternoon or whatever it is. Sometimes I'm chatting to the girls I'm playing with. But something I've recently started doing is I put like a puzzle in the back of like my yardage book.
No
so
way.
Like in golf, like yardage books, and that has like all the course information and stuff like that. And it was actually something like my psychologist recommended, was like, well, like when I was a kid, I used to enjoy doing puzzles and stuff like that. So I have this like little like book that like I just like tear out the sheets and put them in the back, because sometimes there's delays and you're like waiting or waiting for the other girls to bid, and it's just something easy that like completely distracts my mind. But it's like easy mindless stuff. So
that's awesome.
that's kind of something I do that's a little bit different. But
I think Alex was talking about, there was one guy on the tour who has like coloring books in his bag, and he'll take them out in between shots.
I remember one of my teammates when she used to read on the course, and like some girls, I saw another girl with a puzzle book before, and it was when my psychologist mentioned, I was like, oh my god, that's a great idea. Like I've literally seen it before, but I never thought to do it myself.
Oh, that's so interesting.
So coloring, or I know people like play like little games in their head, or I know some of the girls, their caddies do riddles. So like the caddy will like look up riddles before the round, and then they're like thinking about a riddle like on the golf course. So but you're right, we've so much time that you're only like hitting your shot, you're only kind of in that deciding moment for 30 seconds, and then we're out there for 5 hours. So
oh my gosh,
you have a lot of time to fill. And I think that's the other big part of golf, and like the psychology of it, is having a caddy that you enjoy having out there, because you spend so much time with them. They have to be efficient at golf, and your decision making and all of that, but they also have to be someone that you can like that chat away to kind of keep your mind off the intensity of the competition. So
right, that's really important. It's almost like having, in tennis we'll have doubles partners. Someone like having a doubles partners for you, but they're not playing for you.
They're part of your team, but they're not.
So, Lauren, I wanted to ask you, since our podcast is named Yips and Giggles, have you ever had the yips?
No, I'm very fortunate.
Unreal.
I've had teammates who have struggled with the yips, and so we've talked about it at times, but no, I'm a very fortunate individual. I've never experienced the yips.
I think you might be the first one that we've had on that has not had the yips.
So I know in golf, some people talk about like the driver yips. It's mainly in putting, but no, touch wood.
Please.
Seriously. Do you think that's because, again, like you're very, very solid mentally, just like from talking to you, I can kind of like hear like your thought processes and how you go about what you do. And it sounds like you've been that way like since Wake, at least, probably even before. So do you think, because we hypothesize that the yips are just like so mental over physical. So do you think like your mental strength, your way that you mentally go about things is maybe why you haven't ever gotten them, and hopefully we'll never get them? Knock on wood.
Yeah, potentially. I think I probably did a really good job. Well, it was definitely something I had to learn, but not dwelling on, say, one shot or one moment. And sometimes you can like say hit one bad one, and then it's all of a sudden, oh, I have the yips, and it's maybe not necessarily the case, but potentially, I don't know. Probably don't know enough about the experience, but
which is good.
I think
that way.
Has always been, or I guess like my resilience and stuff like that has always been one of my strengths. So hopefully that continues, so I don't end up
Yeah.
with the famous Y word.
No, you're good.
Sending
You're
good vibes to you.
Yeah,
You're gonna
exactly.
be fine. Yeah.
Kind of more on a bit of a serious note, you kind of mentioned at the beginning, the guys are getting paid more. And we were kind of talking about it as well. Like tennis offers basically like equal pay at majors. And so that's great to see. But there's still a little bit of a discrepancy at kind of the lower levels. So at like 1000s, 500s, things like that. And we were looking at it and it was like the men's tour exceeded like 560 million in 2024. And then I'm pretty sure the LPGA was like 115. So it's a pretty big gap. And I think in 2025, it went up to 131, which, you're getting there. It's getting there. But at the same time, it's not even close to the men's tour. And then I feel like with golf, you also see, you'll have courses that are like, don't allow women still. And it's just like, what are we doing, guys? Like, first of all, like what is happening? And so we just want to kind of get your take on it. Like, what do you think really needs to change in order to kind of combat that discrimination that still is kind of going on in the sport?
Yeah, it's so interesting because I met with somebody it was probably about a year ago now, and he was just saying how great and everything that things are improving, but he goes, Lauren, you are so underpaid for what you do. And it was the first time someone said it in that sense of you're underpaid. He goes like the gender pay gap is like 85% in sports. It's if you had that in any other industry in like corporate world, like that would
exactly
never
there would be lawsuits left and right. Yeah.
So the fact that in sports, again, it's improving, it's definitely on the right trajectory. It's great to see kind of some of these like incredible athletes like speak out on it and talk about it, because it is so important to acknowledge, because while it is improving, there is still such a gap.
Yeah.
So I think the LPGA have made a really good step this year in every round is going to be covered live on TV, which I think is a huge thing. It just gets it gets it in front of more people's eyes, I guess, which is a really important thing. So I think once you allow visibility to the sports, people will see that this is just as entertaining, if not for me, I would think more relatable to your general population, which I think brings great entertainment to the sport. So I can only hope that like stuff like that kind of continues to improve. And as I said, it's just visibility. People have to be open to the idea of women's sport is entertaining and it needs to be supported. So I think there's a lot of people doing a lot of great things in order to make that happen. But yeah, I think just like the openness to the whole thing is a big thing for me.
Yeah, I agree, because I mean, again, I feel like with women's tennis and men's tennis, normally people are like, I enjoy watching both. Like, I enjoy watching the women as much as I enjoy watching the men. For me personally, I enjoy watching women's golf as much as I enjoy watching men's golf too. But it's that like accessibility that you were talking about, right? Like the ability to actually turn on the TV and watch you guys play. And because I love watching it as much as I love watching men's golf when I see it on, but there just needs to be more of that access. And so it'll be really exciting to see that improve this year and hopefully continue to improve over the years. And hopefully that will also start bridging that gap, because you guys deserve a lot more. You guys deserve it.
I think so anyways.
No bias, right?
So hopefully now you turn on the golf channel or you turn on sports channels, and people might tune into more women's golf, and then that brings more eyes to it, more attention, hopefully more sponsorship, and that's the goal anyway. So
and I think it just inspires the next generation. Like they can actually watch it and they're like, oh, I can have an idol or someone to actually look up to in women's golf. So I think that's a good step towards making it more equal. And remind me, the foundation that you're a part of, is
the Annika Foundation.
The Annika Foundation. So this foundation is basically, it focuses on providing opportunities for kind of young women in golf, correct? And so, and different kinds of support and everything that they do. And so can you tell us a little bit about the foundation and your kind of experience with it?
Yeah, so Annika Sorensen, again, for those of you who don't know, is like the most decorated women's golfer ever. She's achieved so much in golf, and I think what's really special about Annika is she's almost now becoming just as known for what she's given back to the game. So she started her foundation. They host a junior event in a couple of different continents in the world. They've won in the US, they've won in Europe. I'm pretty sure they've won in Asia too. They have a college event that we played every year in college, which was great. They do a lot of different work. And then they started, when I graduated from college, and they started this program for girls who were coming out of college and turning pro. So I was one of the first 4 ambassadors, and we've kind of chosen awesome. 4 ambassadors every year. So kind of just support for us. It gave us a base in the States for, a place to live and practice at for a year out of college, which was obviously a huge, resource to have kind of coming out of college when you're trying to figure everything out. And, not just in that, they've reached out with a bunch of different kind of opportunities and support kind of resources from like psychology, there was yoga, Pilates, like there was a bunch of different things that they offered to us, which was really cool stuff. And even like I needed, I was trying to figure out visas and stuff, and like they put me in touch with like an immigration lawyer, like just practical stuff like that not everybody has management straight away coming out of college. So it was a really cool thing just to have someone there to be able to go to and kind of have the foundation. And then it also provided us mentorship with Annika. So to be able to speak with her on the phone was like the coolest thing, to be able to ask questions and hear her perspective on some stuff was really, really special. So obviously still kind of part of that, and they've taken on a couple more ambassadors since, and some of the girls I'm friendly with, so it would be nice to kind of, a few of them have been on the LET the last couple of years, and I think there's 1 or 2 more in the States now that hopefully I'll get to see a bit more now that I'm out there. But it's what she's done for the game of golf in her accolades is incredible, but what she's given back is just amazing. So
again, it, like what Peyton was saying, it helps grow the game of golf too, right? Because it inspires other people, and then people see you doing well, you making the LPGA tour, and it's just kind of the snowball effect, right? People get more and more into it as Annika's giving back. People are succeeding, growing the game of golf. More young girls get into golf. It just grows, and it's awesome. Peyton, do you want to head into some fun questions?
Yes, I would love to.
Do you have some time for those, Lauren?
This is the fun part.
Okay. Let me think of which one to do. So if you weren't playing professional golf, what do you think you'd be doing with your life right now?
I always said I was like going to do something like sciencey, or kind of like when I was in school, I was like, oh, like medicine or pharmacy or something like that. And again, that couldn't really do that at Wake with all the labs in the afternoon with practice and everything. But,
Peyton and I talked about that on a different episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, why are all the labs in the afternoon during practice times?
So that kind of quickly kind of diverted my kind of degree path. But I think I'd be doing something in the sciences area.
Nice.
Not really sure what that would look like.
Nice.
But,
what did you?
I'm glad I'm a golfer.
Yeah. What did you actually major in?
I did mathematical business.
Ooh, okay.
It was like the really hard major in the business campaign.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
When I couldn't do science, I was like, okay, I'll be a math major. And then like the numbers started disappearing in maths. So I was like, okay, now I need to do business. That was a very, very late decision for me. It was like sophomore spring. I was like, oh, I need to apply to the business school. I need to take all these classes in like 1 semester. So
great.
It all worked out in the end. I enjoyed the degree.
Oh, that's funny.
That's awesome.
And kind of, when we're talking about, idols and things like that, who did you actually look up to kind of growing up and playing?
I think obviously Annika was always a huge inspiration.
Yeah.
And like, I think she was cool. Lexi Thompson for me was a big one.
Yeah.
She came over and played the Irish Open. I think she was only 16 at the time.
Crazy.
And like really cool clothes, and like, just as like kind of like look up being like, oh yeah, like that's kind of, it was just added a cool element to golf, because I think traditionally golf can be a little, the clothes maybe weren't quite as attractive for like girls, or there wasn't really golf, or there wasn't really like girls clothing either. It was like, a girl with a man's t-shirt that's like way too big, and like, so I think Lexi did so much for the game, inspired so many kind of young girls at the time. And I got to meet her when she came over and played the Irish Open, and got a picture with her, and that was like the coolest thing for 11-year-old me. So, she did a lot for the game.
What's your favorite location that you've traveled to so far?
That is so cool. I was very fortunate in the last 2 years. They have amazing coffee, amazing beaches,
Mm,
and just overall like a really good time. So
Yeah.
the LET are actually there right now. So I'm like on Instagram, like watching all the girls' stories that like I obviously would have played with last year.
Yeah.
They're all in Australia right now, so I'm very jealous. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really cool place. Obviously it's very far away from everywhere, but
Yeah.
they have great golf courses and, as I said, great food, coffee, nice
Yeah.
beaches to walk on. So yeah, definitely my favorite stop.
I do want to go.
it's
It's
awesome.
just that travel
It's so
is
far.
rough.
It's
It's so
so
far from the
far.
States, it's so far from Europe. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter where you are in the world, it's so
It's
far
far.
away.
It's just far.
Yeah,
Yeah, literally.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I guess kind of the last thing is what are you most excited about in your kind of first LPGA season?
Yeah, I think ultimately like playing against the best players in the world.
Yeah.
It's something, it's been a big goal for a while, and you see all these names and people on TV and on social media and stuff. So just to be able to play with them week in, week out, I think is going to be really fun. I hope it brings the best out in my game, and yeah, I hope I get to like enjoy all those experiences as well. So
hmm
yeah, I think that's probably the big thing for me.
Yeah, we'll be watching.
Oh, that's
We'll be
awesome.
cheering you on.
We'll be cheering. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm gonna be like looking every single weekend for the results. We'll become a bit
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Hopefully now when we turn on the TV, the golf will be on TV.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
yeah,
Exactly.
Turn it on,
Exactly.
people. Turn it on.
Yes.
turn it on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, I know you mentioned this, I think, in the beginning, but let's just repeat it one more time for the listeners. So what and when is your next tournament so everyone listening can tune in and cheer you on?
Yeah, so I leave this weekend for China, which will be my first LPGA event of the year. And then I have 1 week off, and then I have a couple in a row in the States.
Awesome.
So I'll be going, I think the first one's in San Francisco, Phoenix, and Vegas. So
Oh, wow.
we start out on the West Coast, which is nice. So
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, that's kind of the next couple weeks.
You'll get some warm weather there. That's nice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
We'll take it.
It's a lot nicer than what I'm looking at currently.
Yeah. Don't even want to look outside.
No, no.
That's funny. Well, that's awesome. We're so excited for you. You
Yeah,
absolutely
no,
deserve
thanks so
it.
much for having me on, and
Yeah.
yeah, all the best with the podcast too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We enjoyed it.